Welcome back. Here's a story that is more serious than before when it has been mentioned, and that's censorship of the internet. The internet is a wonderful tool of communication. I'm not even sure how I managed before, an email and so on. By the way, if you're emailing the show, please put in the town you're from. We want to mention the town as well as your name. But a lot of the internet is pornography, and a lot of it's political pornography. It's racism and horrible conspiracy theories. There's now a concerted campaign to try and control racism in particular. It's interesting, not pornography, but racism on the internet. And there's a lot of it out there, and I hate it, but I have some real concerns about saying certain ideas are not to be expressed on the internet. I mean, who defines what is acceptable?
I don't know. Why is it any different? Can you make racist statements in your local newspaper?
Nope.
And if you can't, then why should you be able to make it on the internet?
Because it is the internet. It's very hard to control.
I don't know if that's just a good enough answer to say because it is the internet. I'm sure it's the latest form of technology that we've stumbled upon, and there'll be other forms as we make our way through life down the years. I don't know why anybody has a right just because it's a new form of technology to be able to be racist on that form of technology.
It's not because it's new, it's because it is so free. You have to be a millionaire to have a newspaper, a multi-millionaire, but anyone can set up a website or express their views. And there are loads of these sites, and they're horrible, and quite a few of them, the Canadian ones, mention me a fair bit. But hey, let them do it.
The thing about racism and that, it's never intended to say that if you happen to be wealthy, you can't be racist, and if you're poor and don't have access to newspapers, it's okay for you to be racist anyway. What if you start coming up with some racist flyers and start distributing them throughout the shopping malls? Well, that's just another form of...
Some of them have been taken off. I mean, people have been denied access. But then what? What about if it's a radical anti-Zionist group, and that's accused of anti-Semitism?
There are some standards that we apply.
Al Jazeera, I mean, that's effectively banned from our airwaves.
Well, I think that's ridiculous. I mean,
I've never supported Al Jazeera being banned either, because I'd like to see that. But if something is inciting hate or violence against an individual, then yes, if it's not allowed in our laws and our other media, it shouldn't be on the internet. But there is something about the internet that is self-editing in a sense. There was a whole deluge of bloggers that came out, and now blog sites are falling off. Others are getting more popular. There is a readership out there on websites who decide which sites are tolerable and which aren't. Can you get rid of them all? No. Should we try if they're in Canada on the internet and they do break our laws? Sure, we should try.
So allow a free market approach to... I mean, I think there's a point there because...
but I'm saying that free market exists on the internet. It's not just like with newspapers.
And blogs, I mean, there's this illusion somehow that blogs are so important. I don't know anyone really outside of media. I mean, I'm old, so I'm not in touch with young people, but my kids are teenagers. They message each other all the time, they download. They don't go to blogs. They're normal kids. They're going to concerts and having fun. Oh, I've got to read what Warren Kinsella has to say. No, they don't go to blogs. And I don't believe a lot of the numbers.
Have a blog yet?
I haven't got the time. I reply to virtually every email. I've got a website, but I couldn't blog. But I'm worried about who does the controlling. Who says this person cannot express their view, this person can.
Well, I am too, and you know, I don't agree with hate laws generally. I think they're a bad thing. And you know, as long as to me, if you're advocating harm against people, and that's
the standard.
That's concrete.
That's concrete. That's a criminal code offense. But other than that, I wouldn't.
See, because how do you decide
anybody.
if a statement is racist? You know, people making comments on a political situation, is that a racist statement or not? It's very hard to make that definition.
How would you do that? I mean, there can be some... for example, there was a fairly reputable group that listed leading neoconservatives in the USA who were Jewish. Now, I think that was completely gratuitous and unnecessary and was offensive. But does that mean they're taken off the internet? No, I think they're allowed to do it if they want.
Yeah, if the remarks, I guess, don't violate any tenets of the Human Rights Act, for example, and I don't know if everybody's going to sit in and say...
We'd all be silent at that point.
No, well, hey, it's on the books, Michael, it's the law of the land, and you can't violate it, so... and if you do, then you're going to be liable to be hauled into a court. And I think that's the kind of policing that we need on the internet. There's got to be basic principles under which our basic line you don't cross. And I think we all know where they are as well. So
I mean, what has really worried me about what is going on these days is I will get emails about all of you here. I always get lots of emails, and some of the people, they'll hate you, or they'll hate you, or they'll hate you.
Oh, I get them too.
And the reason is, it's not because of what you've actually said, it's because of what you represent. And I hate Claire Hoy because what they're saying is I disagree with it, and I hate because, and it's like you can't disagree with someone, you have to silence them. And if people like that are suddenly empowered to say that website is racist or offensive, that
Michael, I could agree with you more from the point of view that I get to come on television and talk, and people listen to my ideas. If they don't like them, they can email me and tell me as much, and I get emails, not to the degree you do, but I get some, and they're not always nice. But at the end of the day, you know what? You can email me, you can have an exchange, dialogues. You can't come after me. You can't take action against me unless I've broken a law in this country, because debate is what makes our democracy so rich. And
certainly did in the past, at least.
But it needs to continue. We have to hold on to that. We can't incite hatred or violence. We have to be careful. But
the only website worth visiting actually is www.michaelcoren.com. And the CTS one too. See you soon. Don't go away.